right? We got Instagram, we got YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter. We got the whole crew in here. Again, we're going to talk about this in the sense of, hey, we got each other's back. I mean, that was one of the toughest losses that we've had in quite some time. There was a lot of reasons why things went wrong. There were a lot of reasons why things went right. But overall, at the end of the day, we're here to console each other, to help make sure that we continue to lift each other up. Because, man, that was tough. That was a tough way to lose. I'm going to start with the positives. I understand we're all in negative town, and rightfully so. We'll get to negative town here in a second, but I do want to start with just the heart of this group, because this game was interesting. This game was crazy. There was so many different scenarios and situations and ebbs and flows and momentum swings back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's playoff football. That's what playoff football is like. If you guys are ready and you got your eyes set on the playoffs, get used to that. Get used to playing in games that you are going to have to be mistake free, because you can see how a game can switch in either direction based on one mistake. Now, even with compounding mistakes, multiple mistakes, the 49ers still had an opportunity there at the end to tie it. Oh my gosh, I was having PTSD in the sense of, that felt like the 2019 game, but in reverse. It felt like I was like, oh gosh, I'm on the other side of the 2019 game. Again, we know how that goes. They try to go for it, and Dre Greenlaw stops them on the one. It felt like that same kind of vibe where it was like, oh, this is what Seattle Seahawks fans felt like. We already know it is so freaking hard to travel up north to the clink. Hey, respect to Seattle Seahawks fans, man. They come out and they show their team love, and they make it really freaking hard to play there. We're not just, the 49ers aren't just playing the Seattle Seahawks. They're playing the fan base as well. I see a lot of people talking about Deebo Samuel not being in there. The 49ers absolutely did miss Deebo Samuel today. But let's give some love to guys like George Kittle. George Kittle came out and balled, 9 receptions, 181 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Would have loved to see him get a little bit more involved in the second half earlier, but he was starting to get more involved there down the stretch. And I know what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about why they lost. That's what we talk about at the end of these games. Typically, we talk about why we lost. At the end of the day, we understand why we lost. We lost because we turned over the football. 2 interceptions, a safety, missed PATs, leaving points out on the field. Those are the reasons why the 49ers lost. I am not going to sit here and say I can compartmentalize one situation to being that's the reason why they lost, because again, it came down to it at the end. The 49ers had an opportunity to be able to tie the game there at the end. Now, there's so many things. Like the interceptions were bad. They weren't good interceptions. Like they weren't like, okay, maybe we try to fit it into a really tight hole and it just got tipped. Like, no, they were bad interceptions. They weren't good. We had the fumble from Elijah Mitchell. Unfortunately, he got kind of rolled up on and tweaked. Ball comes out. That's unfortunate. Special teams, we gave up points. We left points on the field on special teams, and then we gave up points from special teams. So in all reality, you look across all 3 phases. All 3 phases struggled today. They all struggled in different parts of the game. We saw Russ start to cook and attack our defensive backs. At the second Emmanuel Mosley went down, they just started attacking. They went after Demo. They went after Josh Norman. They went after Dante Johnson. They smelt the blood in the water because it's Russell Wilson, and we understand what Russell Wilson is capable of. So at a certain, I know we don't like to do it, but you have to tip your cap to the other squad for taking advantage of our weaknesses. At the end of the day, that's what the game is about. They saw we had a weakness in our secondary and they attacked it. The rest of the defense played really well for the most part. We had a couple bad calls on, maybe some unfortunate roughing the passers, things like that in the second half. But overall, that's going to come along with the game. That's a part of the game flow. It is what it is. I'm I'm not, and then so it's tough, man. They have those situations there. Um, they give up some plays on the back end, but then you have great plays by Azeez Al-Shaair, who comes in and forces that fumble at the end. That is huge. That is big time stuff from Azeez Al-Shaair. So although we're talking about all the negatives and all the bad things, we're going to sprinkle in some of the positives. All Pro Azeez is his name. Azeez Al-Shaair, regardless of the loss that we just suffered, the terrible, terrible loss that we had, Azeez Al-Shaair deserves his respect. That dude is playing like an all pro. The plays that he made in this game, regardless of the situation, he is balling out at no linebackers, no one. Where's Fred Warner? Where's Greenlaw? Gone, out. It's Azeez and Azeez only. We got Talanoa Hufanga playing linebacker. Azeez is balling out. We're also going to tip our cap to DJ Jones. DJ Jones had a great game. He continues to be our best interior defensive lineman right now with no Javon Kinlaw, no Maurice Hurst. DJ Jones deserves a tip of the cap for his performance. He put us in position to win this game. He got us a turnover. He made stops. He did his job. Other than that, like we said, we knew what happened. The second Emmanuel went down, we were like, they're going to come after the two cornerbacks, and they did exactly that. So it is what it is. Our safeties did the best they could with what they had in front of them, but unfortunately, we just couldn't match up well against DK Metcalf and Lockett with the trio of available cornerbacks that we had. Staying on the defensive side, though, we had the K1 pick. K1 had that huge pick. Shout out Gerald Everett for giving us a chance to come back in that game because, again, they almost scored a touchdown right there. But Gerald Everett bobbles it up. K1 Williams snags it. So, that's, again, we can go through and pinpoint good plays and bad plays and weird timings and momentum swings. But really, when you strip away all of it, it's just kind of a sloppy game. It was kind of sloppy. Although they would come back and they would make up for the misfortunes that were self-inflicted, it was a bit of a sloppy game. It felt like, and it's really hard, and we know what the situation is. It's Seattle. So it's really hard to be like, we played down to Seattle because for whatever reason, doesn't matter where we are in the standings, doesn't matter where we are with injuries. These two teams just play each other. We know what it's like to be in this division. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where they are, when they are. It is what it is. Both teams show up regardless for these games. Obviously, we talked about this game as an opportunity for the 49ers to come after the Seattle Seahawks and end their run. Again, they had a 2% chance before this win to enter the playoffs. Now those chances go up. We'll see. It's still not over for the 49ers. The 49ers are still squarely looking at the playoffs. It's not like we just got bounced out or anything. So although we're upset, this game was just weird, though. Can we talk about that? Can we just talk about how weird of a game this was in regards to momentum swings, in regards to weird plays, like awkward plays, weird turnovers? It was just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And honestly, we know what it is. The 49ers need to play sound, solid football if they want to win football games. We understand that when they start turning the ball over, that's when this team we see them and we're like, oh, like, uh-oh, because they're good. This is a good football team. They have good coaching, they have good players, they have players that can win at every level regardless of the injuries. They can still do it, but they got to execute and play their game. And today, they were just too all over the place. They were too it's because it's so hard when we're trying to like quantify what this game was because there were bad plays, but there are also so many good plays. So it's just I'm of course going to go back and watch it. I'm not looking forward to this rewatch, unfortunately. It would have been much better with a win, but right now, that wasn't the kind of the effort that we wanted to see necessarily. Now, I'm not going to say effort either because the effort was there. There wasn't a lack of effort. So I can't say that. So again, we're trying to be very careful with how we talk about this loss because there was tons of effort, tons of people flying to the football. There were guys making plays, all Aziz, DJ Jones, Nick Bosa with the sack, Arden Key with the sack, Talanoa Hufanga was flying around. You had K'Wan Williams with the INT, George Kittle, 2 touchdowns, Elijah Mitchell. So guys were making plays. Guys were making plays, but it was the lack of sustained rhythm and continuity, which we understand with this team seems to be our Achilles heel. That when we can't play 3 phases and one phase starts kind of going awry, it kind of feels like it translates. So again, I don't know if we can get too scientific here and just like really just like say this is why they failed or this is why they failed or this is why they lost. There's so many different points within this game that bounced back and forth. So it comes down to again turning the ball over, not taking care of the football, and giving Russell Wilson the opportunity to come back and make plays. That's what it is. It just really, it's what it is. I know a lot of people are upset with Jimmy Garoppolo today, so I'm kind of waiting on that. I know a lot of people are upset with Jimmy Garoppolo. I understand. Jimmy made a couple bad throws. We had the safety as well. Couple bad plays from Jimmy, but however, it's a hard dynamic because you see the bad plays from Jimmy, but then you see Jimmy come back and and start dealing and getting them back in a position to tie the game there at the end. So it's just like w- I think us as fans, like we understand that Jimmy is inconsistent in regards to what style of play we're going to get from him. Um, so it's tough. It's tough, man. It really is. Like it's just tough because on one hand he put us in a hole, on the other hand he almost brought us out of the hole, and I think that's part of people's frustrations right now with Jimmy because I don't believe it's all his fault. I don't believe this loss is solely on Jimmy. Kyle deserves a share. Jimmy deserves a share. Anyone who forced a turnover deserves a share. Our some of our DBs in coverage deserve a share. Like there's enough to go around where we're not going to sit here and be like, oh look, it's Kyle Williams. The Kyle Williams, like he's the one. Like I don't really think that we can look at this game like that because you can't be in a position to tie the game at the end, and really say that. But honestly, I think one of the plays that was I'm going to question for Kyle was the zone read with Jimmy. What was that? What were we doing there in that 4th down play when we had to have it? Again, that is I don't view that as a strength. I don't view Jimmy Garoppolo running a zone keeper out of shotgun as being a strength in a situation where you need 1 yard and you have to have it. Is my audio down again on at least I can see your comments on Instagram. That's a win for me. Um that's a win for me. So that's fine. So hopefully you guys can hear me, but it is what it is. So we kind of were anticipating Trey Lance potentially coming in there after I think Jimmy Garoppolo's second interception. But we've also talked about how it's kind of a dual-edged sword, a little bit. It's kind of like, yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo was struggling, but do we risk throwing out Trey Lance kind of to the wolves in that particular situation where we saw what happened when we did that with Trey Lance in the second half of the first Seattle game. It wasn't as we had all really anticipated. You know what I'm saying? Like we were talking about it and we got what we wanted. We got Trey Lance in the second half of that Seattle game, but we just understand too that there takes preparation and planning that goes into being a starter that you don't get as a backup. So we're dealing with a rookie who's only gotten one start. He's played really the majority of his snaps in two games. It's been a while, so I cannot kind of understand them keep bringing Jimmy out. And then Jimmy performed well enough to kind of bring them back there at the end. But man, it was just tough, man. Because again, at the end of the day, it's all self-inflicted. It's all self-inflicted and just kind of puts us in a hole that we again have to bury ourselves out. And that I think one of the biggest things for fans is they're tired of seeing us have to each pull ourselves out of a self-inflicted hole. I think that's the hardest thing that we kind of are seeing with the quarterback play is that the quarterback play can be good and can be efficient and it can, but we also understand that it can't and that can translate into turnovers, could translate into poorly timed plays or throws. And so I think fans at this point are just having a hard time with it. I just think fans are having a hard time watching the consistent inconsistencies, if that makes sense. Um, so we're gonna see what happens. We're like if you're looking at the comments, the comments are gonna tell you, that uh, Jimmy should not start another game because again, same thing self-inflicted wounds. Jimmy had two interceptions, not pretty interceptions. So it's just a tough spot to be in because again, Jimmy did almost get us back in a spot to be there. So it is what it is, man. It's really, really, it's a really, really crappy situation. So it is what it is. Um, it's and look, everyone's pissed off. It's fine. Yeah. Everyone wave bye to Brett. Goodbye, Brett. No one's gonna miss you. Like seriously. People are like super entitled. Like we're super angry, so I'm gonna unfollow. Please, my guy, go ahead. We're not gonna miss you. So it's just an unfortunate situation right now. The 49ers needed to come out and win that game. We wanted them to win that game. It looked like we could win that game, and unfortunately, at the end of the day, it was the self-inflicted wounds that cost us at the end. So we have to live with that. We have to live with that. We have to live with that situation. But if you've been a fan of the 49ers long enough, you understand what we're up against and what we have going kind of at the quarterback position. We understand it's volatile. We understand we get good Jimmy and we get bad Jimmy. And we're not really positive of which and when is going to show up in which instance. It's hard. It's really hard. Um yeah, it was the hat color. It was the hat color choice. That's why. Um Jay I'm just gonna call you Jay, my guy. Says on YouTube, why did they flex our game out this week? I think they, based on the way Seattle was performing, I think the way that Seattle was performing, they wanted to get a different. They just wanted to get someone else in there. It turned out to be a really good game, really competitive game. Um, but Uh, yeah, it's a ratings thing. It's kind of it's based on the play of both teams heading into the game at that time. So it is what it is. Um, it is what it is. So ultimately, at the end of the day, it's a L. 49ers took an L to a team that was 3-8 in a game where they had an opportunity to win it. They played well enough. They played good enough in spots that they absolutely could have won this game, even down to the end of tying it. But we understand there's too many. At a certain point, there's just too many mistakes that you can't overcome. It is what it is, man. It really, really is. So when that occurs and we're giving the ball to a guy like Russell Wilson, you know, that's what is gonna happen. So it is what it is. Good to see Kittle ball out, though. Absolutely. Good to see Elijah Mitchell being okay. And on the injury front, however, it is good to hear that Trenton Cannon wasn't severely injured. So it just sounds like Trent Cannon has a concussion. Doesn't really sound like it's going to be a serious injury. Um, but unfortunately, we did lose Emmanuel Mosley for the game. I think that was the biggest injury that we sustained was losing Emmanuel Mosley because that completely affected the coverage and how we adjusted the coverage. It was losing Emmanuel Mosley, I think, was one of the harder things because I feel like once Emmanuel Mosley left the game, that's when Russ really started to push the ball downfield on the 49ers. Gold Blooded says Jimmy always does this. Plays like Kaka, then he tries to bring us back. His INTs were pretty dumb. He's literally looking right at the defender. Yes, Gold Blooded, and in other terms, yes, that's the inconsistencies that we talk about with Jimmy Garoppolo. We've it's just hard, man. It's hard. We know the bed that we live in, and we kind of have to sleep in it. So I don't know what the answer is to that. I don't know what the answer is to that because I know this team. Because again, they have won four. Previously, heading into this game, they had won 3 of their last 4. Kind of with that inconsistent play. But again, I think kind of what we're seeing, I think what we're kind of seeing is that once we get into kind of playoff territory and we get into those games where you got to have it, you can't be inconsistent. You got to be locked in. You got to be ready to go. And we got to take care of the football. So I get everyone's upset. And it's back to the same narratives that we've always talked about when the 49ers lose, but it's going to be okay. They're still in it. They still got time to get this back. So I get it. Everyone's mad. Everyone's upset. Everyone wants to yell at someone right now. If you want to yell at me, go for it. You can yell at me. Tell me you're going to unfollow me. Tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. I think I've already had like 2 or 3 people say like, how this guy get this many followers? It's fine. Yell at me all you want. Take it out on me. Because at the end of the day, there's nothing we can do about this. We just kind of have to sit back, relax, and watch and see how this coach and Kyle Shanahan manages this situation. Again, they're not out of it. They are still staring the playoffs in the face. So it is what it is. A terrible loss, a tough loss. It's really difficult and it sucks. I understand. Okay. It's upset. We want to point the finger at someone. If you want to point it, please just point it at me. I've been told. I'm joking with DJ, but I'm told we lost because I wore the gold hat instead of the white hat. So again, if you guys want to yell at someone, I am your sounding board. Hit my comments, do whatever. I got you. You need someone to point the finger at. I'm here. We lost because I went from white to red. We're taking note of that, DJ. Hey, DJ, we're taking note of that. We're coming back with a white hat next week, guaranteed. Because that's my bad, guys. I switched up the hat. That's my bad. I got you. I got you guys. It's because I don't go on live anymore on YouTube. That's why. Or I'm sorry, I don't go on lives on anymore on Instagram. But shout out Instagram. Shout out Instagram for getting my comments back. I love seeing you guys yell at me this time. I didn't like knowing that you guys were yelling at me, but I couldn't see it. Now it's much better that I can see you guys yelling at me. I digress. Overall, guys, we get it. My heart was pounding there at the end. I felt like I was going to jump out of my skin. It was a great bad game, if that makes sense. Like, it was just one of those games that was like, feels like a playoff game. It feels like a movie. Like, the way these situations were happening and going on, it was just really, it was like cinematic in a sense. It felt scripted. It felt like how is this happening? Like, this way, in this situation, like this. Like the safety, the INT, even the fumble at the end with the Z's. Like, it felt scripted. And it's one of those tough losses that is going to sit with us forever. Because, again, it's 2021. It's 2021. A lot of you guys have been fans for a long time. A lot of you guys know what it's like playing in this division. You know what it's like traveling up to Seattle. We know this. Like, we when people say act like you've been there before, guys, we have been here before. We have been in this situation. So we're going to take it with a grain of salt. We're going to take it with Russ being Russ. We're going to take it with injuries hampered us on the back end. Russ exploited. We're going to take it as self-inflicted pain due to turnovers and poor penalties at poor times. And again, that's all we can really talk about. We can only really control what we can control at the end of the day. That's all we can do. And unfortunately, we transferred control to Seattle. 49ers started out with control. Actually, they didn't. They didn't start in control. Seattle started in control. Then they took. So that's what it was. It was just a power struggle. Today was a power struggle. It was back and forth. And unfortunately, we weren't able to make the play when we needed it the most at the end. That's football for you. That's why we play the game. So, wasn't pretty, wasn't the best. We had positives, we had negatives, we had crazy things that were unexplainable. We had it all. This game was wild. I agree, DJ. It was no excuses. We lost. It was a good game. It was a good game. So it is what it is. I really look at the injuries as being a huge thing. That, like I said, the Emmanuel Mosley thing to me was huge. Losing out on him. Oh. So, okay. All right. Well, that worked out. Sorry. I was on IG and my phone was plugged in, pretending to charge, and it wasn't. So honestly, guys, it just was what it was. And I know that saying that out loud, like, people are like, what the hell? That's what happens when you go into a game with Jimmy Garoppolo. That's like, again, like, this isn't, I'm trying to like not preface this in the way like I'm coming down Jimmy Garoppolo's road, because there are going to be plenty of other people who are going to do that. I'm basically just saying, like, this is what you live with when you go into the year with Jimmy Garoppolo as your starting quarterback. We understand what Jimmy is. He is this. This game against Seattle is the most Jimmy Garoppolo game that I have ever seen. Like, it just really is. It just is really, in regards to the consistent. Jimmy is so consistently inconsistent. That's what Jimmy Garoppolo is. Now, we can win with that. We have won with that for a long time, for years now, with Garoppolo being a bit inconsistent. But you have to be able to rebound and do those things. Jimmy Garoppolo isn't going to see an underneath linebacker every once in a while. It is what it is. Like, but that's the point. That's the game. We understand Jimmy Garoppolo is going to put us in better spots. He's going to be able to make some big plays. He's going to be able to make some big throws. Throw to the touchdown to Jimmy, or I'm sorry, to Kittle was nice. He had a couple other good throws, the back shoulder to Juice. But we also have to be able to live with the poor reads. So that's just what it is. And so we've gotten used to dealing with that, but obviously a lot of fans they're over it, which I can understand. But honestly, I don't think Jimmy's going anywhere. Like, I would imagine Jimmy Garoppolo comes out and starts against the Bengals. Again, even in a situation like we just saw, the safety, the INT, 2 INTs, he didn't get benched. So that should tell you a little bit about what the coach is thinking right now. So it's just tough, man. It's just tough. It's just tough. They knew that. We knew that. Like, I agree. No PI, but again, at the same time, you want to put yourself in a position where you don't have to rely on a PI. You don't have to rely on getting a call. I just feel like the 49ers were in such a good spot here to kind of control the game and own it. But, they scored at before halftime. They got the ball back right after we got it. We fumbled, I believe. We either fumbled or threw an interception. Like right there after halftime. So it is what it is, man. It's a tough situation. This is why I would never, ever, 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 ever want to go into a season with 2 quarterbacks. This is why I never, ever want to go into another football season covering the San Francisco 49ers having 2 quarterbacks. Pick one, write it out. Because it just feels like there's too much. It just feels like there's too much back and forth. I don't know, man. I don't want to get too caught up on the quarterback. I know a lot of people want to talk about the quarterback. I still think Jimmy played well enough to win the game, but not well enough to get it done. Again, if he, like, I was yelling the entire last drive. I was yelling, I don't care, Jimmy, because honestly, at the end of the day, as long as he wins games, I don't care what it looks like. I don't. And unfortunately, though, Jimmy wasn't able to get it done. When he's not able to get it done, we don't get to hold up the W and be like, well, we got the W, so we don't need to focus on the turnovers. That's the problem. So when the 49ers don't get the win, then those turnovers get put on a pedestal and they get the spotlight shining on them, and they're just like, that's what happens. So that's what Jimmy is. Jimmy has the ability to stay in games and win games, but he also has an ability to make it a lot harder than it needs to be. So that's what you get with Jimmy. He can win games, he can make plays, he can make throws, he can do it all, but he's also, it's not if, he's going to make it harder than it needs to be. Does that mean Jimmy's the reason why they lost? Not necessarily. If you guys want me to go on a rant and you want to get spicy Brad out here, we can talk about Josh Norman for a little bit. But overall, it was a good game. It was just, again, the turnovers, the few missed plays here or there was the death sentence. He cannot. So it is what it is. What are we going to do about our corners? I don't know. Josh Norman ain't it. He's never been it. Still not it. Ain't it. Won't be it. Josh Norman has not been the same since Carolina. Who are we kidding ourselves? This has been on 3 teams since Carolina. Josh Norman is the biggest waste of space I have seen in some time. Now, I know a lot of people like to focus on the forced fumbles. I don't care about that because, again, you can see how he is a liability in coverage and continuously gets dusted. Just always. It's not if, it's always. I think Lenore got benched. Lenore didn't have a great game. The second Emmanuel Mosley came in, the very first play was that shot to DK Metcalf streaking down the seam. That was Demo. And you could tell Russ, that is where he was going. They brought the cornerback, the rookie corner, off the bench. They put him on DK Metcalf, basically in a one-on-one situation. And they just, like, at a certain point, it's like, I mean, do we really want to put DK Metcalf and Diamador Lenore in a one-on-one situation in his very first play of the game? So not much help for the kid, but they attacked him immediately. They attacked Diamador and Lenore immediately, and he didn't last long. He really didn't last long. Dante Johnson made his way into the game very soon after that. So I thought Diamador played okay. Or I'm sorry, Dante Johnson played okay. I think he had one knucklehead call or play. Lenore got beat on their final TD to lock it. So I don't know, man. Hufanga was all over the field. I don't know. I predicted double-digit tackles. Let's see if he hit it. No, he didn't. Aziz Al-Shaair was the only one who got double-digit tackles. Talanoa Hufanga got 3. So it's just a tough situation. It basically comes down to we have liabilities on the back end. We have liabilities built within our quarterback. So when you have 2 pretty significant liabilities on both sides of the football, it's hard. It's hard to make mistakes and overcome them because it's not like, okay, we have a quarterback who's going to probably turn over the ball at least one time a game. We got lockdown cornerbacks that are going to be able to just take care of it. It's fine. That's the problem, is that we're kind of in a comorbid situation of, okay, Jimmy turns over the ball or whoever turns over the ball and they just immediately attack our defensive backs and just like just boom right away. We were containing them and bottling up them in the rush game for the most part. Again, Rashad Penny had 10 for 35, nothing crazy. Adrian Peterson had 11 for 16. Although he did get a touchdown, obviously Travis Homer had the huge run on the special teams play. But again, there's not one thing with this game. And I think that's just what it keeps coming back to, is that it was it was, if it was a win, it would have been a team win. And with it being a loss, it's also a team loss. I can put it on Jimmy. It would be really easy to just say, hey, Jimmy had 2 interceptions and a safety. It's Jimmy's fault. I could say that, but I wouldn't, in my opinion, I wouldn't be being accurate of how this game unfolded. Like I said, the DBs, Emmanuel Mosley going down, that's when the game really, like, that's when Seattle's offense heated up. That's when they really started pouring it on. When our coverage on the back end just completely fell apart. So it is what it is, man. This is kind of in line with it is what it is. Jimmy being Jimmy, Kyle being Kyle. Both are good and really good in certain instances. And then you have other instances where you're just like the play call again. We talked about it going on with 4th down, running a zone read with Jimmy. I thought that wasn't like a weird play. I thought it was weird from the jump. I thought it was weird the way they lined up out of. It was an interesting call, man. It was an interesting call. To call a zone read on 4th and 1. So yeah, this is what we talked about on the pregame show. We talked about how the matchup that we really were going to keep an eye on was Tom Compton versus Dunlap. On that play, Dunlap beat Compton. Actually, Dunlap got Compton twice in 2 big moments. Dunlap also batted the pass on the 4th down attempt at the very end of the game. So I think he did okay for the most part. Just unfortunate timing with all that situation. And so, like, I get it. Fans are upset. I get it. I get you're upset. We wanted to win that game. I don't necessarily understand. Like, again, 5 rings. I don't think I've ever seen you around here. I'm not meaning to single you out, but again, I don't understand this. Like, this is football. Like, this is football. Like, this is how it works. It's an imperfect game. Like, if you don't want to spend your money and you don't want to be a fan of this team, then go be a Seattle fan, my guy. Go be a Seattle fan. Like, that's why you're a fan of the team. You root for them regardless if they win or they lose. I imagine you wouldn't be a very good Detroit Lions fan or whatever. But like I said, if that's your vibe, then we're not the channel for you. We aren't the channel for you. So it is what it is. Like, we're gonna lose teams. Guess what? I watched that game where Kyle Williams fumbled the ball twice off his kneecaps, and we didn't get to go to the Super Bowl because of that. Guess what? I'm still here. Did I decide to just become a New York Giants fan because a Giants fan beat us? No. That's not how it works. It's fine. You're upset. You're angry. So you're going to talk and say all these things. That's fine. Like I said, just direct them at me. Just direct them at me. It's fine. But to say like, oh, don't abandon the team. Like what? Okay. Bye. Literally, no one will miss you. So go be a Seattle fan. Please hop on over the bridge. Go on down to Seattle. We ain't going to miss you. We really ain't. We really, really ain't. So it's all good. At the end of the day, just wasn't pretty. Wasn't good. Wasn't great. It's just not. It's just not great. So I see we're back into the I'm gonna develop like a phase of like emotions, a cycle of emotions that 49er fans go through after a loss. Right now, it's bench Jimmy, fire Kyle, fire the OC, fire the DC, fire special teams coordinator, become don't support your money or give your money to the team. That's kind of like the cycle. And then they win, and then fan buys merch, fan buys tickets to game, fan watches team win, then fan watches team lose, cycle repeats. Fire them, get rid of him, don't spend your money, become a they won again. We're back on. We're a fan again. Woo, go Niners. Woo! Go Niners, they won. Woo! Yeah, I've always been here. I was just joking. I was just upset. Woo! Guys, I've been doing this for too damn long. I have been doing this for too damn long. I know these fans, man. I know the cycle. The cycle's the same. Doesn't matter what year it is. Literally. Does not matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if it was 2017. Doesn't matter if it was 2018, 2019. Dude, there are people, if the 49ers lost in 2019, people were losing their minds. They started out undefeated. It is what it is, man. Luke says, I love this team. I sport the gear with 0 wins. I also support the content creators. All this I refuse to wear, watch, or support the team is fair. It is. It is. It is. But that's how fans, a lot of fans are. A lot of fans aren't fans to live through the poor times. They're not. They're here to be a part of something when it's a winning environment, when it's a good environment. Then they're like, yeah, let's do it. I'm a Niner fan. Been a Niner fan since 94. Ugh. When they're losing, they're nowhere to be found. When they're losing, it's pointing finger season. So it is what it is. I'm not going to try to give it any more attention than it needs to. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. And we've been here, so we're not going to go anywhere. And if you aren't going to go anywhere, then congratulations. You're a fan. So it is what it is. Oh man. Oh man. Talk about next week? Sure, why not? I think that's a good segue to get us out of this fun post-game live. The 49ers got the Bengals. The Bengals got it put on them. Now, did they actually so they brought it back. I think it was like 28 or 27 nothing at one point in the second quarter. The Chargers had put it up on them. No, the Bengals lost 41-22, but a big part of the reason why they lost is because the Chargers just came out on fire. Absolutely came out on fire. So it's just one of those games. The Chargers were just at a disadvantage from the very beginning. So game flow was weird. But still, They were able to score 22 points after being initially shut out. You had Joe Burrow throw 2 interceptions. Again, they're bringing in a really good running back in Joe Mixon. T. Higgins is baller. T. Higgins is a baller. He had 9 receptions for 138 yards and a touchdown. I like T. Higgins a lot. Tyler Boyd had a good game. Jamar Chase. So, I mean, we got an offense with weapons coming in. Again, it's a bad time. It's a bad time to have injuries in the secondary. It really is. It's a bad time to have injuries in the secondary because now the 49ers face one of the best wide receiver trios in the NFL. So, yikes. Jay says Shanahan shouldn't be fired. Jimmy G just gets exposed when the Niners' run game isn't excellent. I feel like Lance could have won, but I trust Shanahan. Honestly, like, the Lance conversation is hard because we don't know what Lance is. We've seen rookies across the league. Across the league, there is an acclimation process that it takes. We don't know. We don't know if Trey is just going to come in and start winning game. Like, I believe he's good. I believe Trey. I'm that guy who said all offseason Trey Lance should have started week 1. That's me. I'm that guy. But if he started week 1, he's in position to win now, right? But he hasn't started week 1. He hasn't taken those bumps and bruises. He played in 1 game, he got hurt, and we haven't seen him since. So I'm a big development guy. I'm big in player development from a coaching perspective, scouting perspective. Trey Lance has not been developed to be the starter. And I think that's important for us to kind of to rationalize is that I think Trey Lance has a great skill set and he's definitely more talented than Jimmy G, but he hasn't been preparing to be the starter. He doesn't have the experience. The reason why we said start in week 1 is so that when we were in this period of time being potentially 6-5, 7-5, whatever, the rookie would be taking those steps forward in his maturation. But that didn't happen. So are you ready to put in a rookie quarterback who has not had the maturation and seasoning time that he needed to have to then be thrown into a season mid-year with a team who does not play with him, does not practice with him, and then they're just going to win games? That's not how it works. Like, this isn't Madden. It's not really simple just to like, oh, I'm just going to bench this guy, put that guy in. Everything's going to be fine. It's just not. And again, I'm a Trey Lance guy. I wanted Trey Lance to play week 1. He should have played week 1. I'm not going to go down that road, but he could have. And we could have been having the conversations that we're seeing with Mac Jones and some of the other, like Zach Wilson had a day today. So it is what it is. It is what it is, man. Cash the God said, if we lose to Cincy with Jimmy, do we start Trey Lance the remainder of the season? I think that's fair. But again, guys, hold on one second. Hold on. Reminder, guys, just a reminder. they still want to trade Jimmy Garoppolo. So again, we're hearing all the reports. Oh, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be the starter in 2020. Oh, it doesn't sound like the 49ers are going to be trading Jimmy Garoppolo this offseason. No. Oh, and they received a third before the trade deadline. Bro, it's in their best interest to keep Jimmy Garoppolo as the starter. It is in their best interest, especially if they do not envision Jimmy Garoppolo to be the quarterback next year, because they have to trade him. And so if you demolish, again, people before this week are talking about like, oh, they're going to get a first for Jimmy. So they're not going to bench him. This is, bro, I don't know if you guys know this yet. But the NFL is about the money. They are about value. They are about show me the Benjamins. So when they got someone like Jimmy Garoppolo, who's potentially worth an asset, this is a exercise in economics. So, guys, I like if the future was Trey Lance for this year, it would have happened already. That's it. It would have happened already. So that's why I really believe this time. I believe Kyle. This time I believe it's Jimmy Garoppolo's job until they're out of the playoffs, because he's still under contract next year. He's still under contract. He's still set to get millions and millions and millions of dollars from this team in 2022. So if this is Jimmy Garoppolo's team, or they do transition to Trey Lance, it would be great to be able to get that first round pick that you traded for Trey Lance, would it not? So there's a short-term plan, there's a long-term plan. It's all in play. So it is what it is, man. Like, I think Jimmy's capable. I think Jimmy can win games. I think Jimmy could absolutely take us to the playoffs. I think Jimmy could take us back to the Super Bowl again. But not exactly. It's all ifs, but not if we get turnovers from the quarterback position. Now they're going to happen, right? I think we can, when we can quantify and we can look at a pick and be like, oh, that was a good play by a defensive back. That's much different than throwing a pick into triple coverage and then being like, you know what? I think you get what I'm saying. So the Jimmy Trey thing, I don't think it's cut and dry. I don't. I don't think it's just about X's and O's. I think there's so many different things involved that. So that's the thing, man. Would you rather have Jimmy Garoppolo? Would you rather have, like, I don't know what other quarterbacks are out there? Like, would you rather have like Gardner Minshew or like Jalen Hurts? Like, a lot of teams are going to look at Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know. I don't want to talk about Jimmy anymore. To be honest, I really don't. I don't think he's the sole reason the 49ers lost. I thought he did a lot of good in the game. He had bad in the game. Thought he did a lot of good too. You know? So, but I think the point of what I'm trying to say, what the point of what I'm trying to say is like, no, I don't think anyone's surprised by the outcome, right? Like, we know Jimmy can win games. We know Jimmy can be successful. We know Jimmy can be efficient, but we know he cannot be those things as well. So it's, uh, yeah, I don't know. Exactly. And we understand. We understand. 49ers lost, so it's doom and gloom. Everyone's upset. We'll have a much more even take. We'll have a much better idea to formulate better opinions once we've had an opportunity to look at this and sleep on this and all that type of stuff. I agree. They own us. They got our number. Just like we got, it's, bro, the NFC or the NFC West is crazy because it's like we own the Rams, but Seattle owns us. Cardinals lightweight own us. It's just weird. It's just a weird division. It's just a weird division. Um, so yeah, not a fun one. Was really hoping to get a win here. Um, I think I think it would have been the type of momentum that this team needed. Again, that would have been 4 wins in a row. Uh, that would have been 5 out of the last 6. The momentum and the arrow pointing up for the 49ers would be huge. Would be huge right now. So exactly. And now we got to worry about the Falcons coming in. Now we got to worry about the Falcons coming in, making mental mistakes, turning the ball over, doing things like that. So it got to stay focused, got to stay on top of the execution and everything that we're trying to do. So I don't know. I think it's safe to say, though, I think it's safe to say we're hurt, we're sad, we're bitter, we're pissed off, we want to scream at someone, we're upset. Good. I would also question your fandom if you weren't upset. Like, if you weren't upset, okay. So it is what it is. We're pissed, we're angry. Any adjective you want to use, that's what we are. So, and I get this too. I get this. I'm not going to say I don't get it. I'm trying to help rationalize it, but I get it as well. I get the camp. I get both camps, okay? I get both sides. I get people who give Jimmy the benefit of the doubt because he needs the benefit of the doubt sometimes because we're almost too hard on him. But then on the opposite side, I understand the people that are just over it. I understand. I understand the both sides of it. I understand that it feels like we're kind of stuck in the middle of that kind of situation. So that's frustrating. It's upsetting because you always feel like you left something out there in a sense, right? We feel like we left something out there. Well, what if Trey Lance played? Would it have been a different outcome? We'll never know. And so I think that can be frustrating for some people. Now, it is what it is. I learned I think around week 8. I think it was around week 8. I think it was around week 8 I kind of realized like, man, I don't think Trey's going to play. I don't think Trey's coming in. So I kind of gave up on the play Trey Lance thing around week 8. And actually that's when they started winning. So it's the same thing. Again, people in this locker room, they want Jimmy Garoppolo to play. They do. So as long as the locker room wants Jimmy Garoppolo to play, Jimmy Garoppolo is going to play. So I imagine Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be starting against the Bengals. If Jimmy Garoppolo wins against the Bengals, that's another week that Jimmy buys himself some leash with this fan base. Obviously, we understand all it takes is 1 or 2 bad interceptions, and any goodwill that he does, it won't translate well. So typically the people inside the locker room who actually go out and play the game that we're watching and talking about, those are the people that care about the locker room. Typically, that's how football works. And this is also a false statement, but sure, go for it. How about we do that? Why don't we end it there? I mean, we're not going to turn over any new stones. We're not going to come up with any kind of epiphanies or new information of why they lost this game. It comes down to turnovers, poorly timed plays, and lack of execution, and badly timed flags. What it comes down, there's a lot of reasons why the 49ers lost this game. There's a lot of reasons why. I know for a fact, man. Like whatever you guys can, like I said, you guys can shit on me all you want. I talk to these players. I know how these players feel and think about certain situations, and they like Jimmy, and they don't care that you don't like Jimmy. They don't. This team, inside those 4 walls, inside a Levi Stadium, they like Jimmy. And they want Jimmy to be the starter. So it is what it is. And that's how we move. So the game is over. I think we will see you next week, which is tomorrow. So shout out Don Burr. Don Burr got the W. I wish we could celebrate dual W's together, Don. I really wish we could. It is what it is. But we're proud of you, Don. We're proud of you. And we are happy for you. We are. Can't say that about everyone in the chat. Can't say that about everyone in the chat. So it is what it is. I appreciate you, Luke, as always. I know my guys listening. I know my guys listening through all this. Oh, Luke, love you, my guy. It is what it is. So let's get some sleep. Enjoy some time with your families. Appreciate you, my guy, Sourdough Squad. We're still here. You know the vibes. Real Ones will be back tomorrow. Should be back at around the 1:30 time per usual. So we'll take a little bit deeper look into it, talk about it with a little less emotion, and we'll get back into this. So it wasn't the outcome that we wanted, but guess what? That's why we're faithful. We're still here, and we'll be back tomorrow. So I'll see you guys again. Have a great rest of your night.